Deep inside of the Fright Zone itself, we're about to take a look at a hairy henchman of Hordak and a nemesis to She-Ra and He-Man, none other than Grizzlor. And today, we will look at him in this review.
Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another exciting Masterverse review, and that's right, we're going to be looking at a Princess of Power figure, Grizzlor, as we mentioned, and you can see that awesome book-end artwork on the side, really cool. And then, of course, again, that awesome artwork on the back, along with the other figures. We've already gone over Buzz Off. Check that review out. And I'm supposed to be getting Faker in the mail tomorrow, so that'll be cool. He is a part of the evil horde. And there's his bio. If you'd like to pause and read that now, you can. All right, let's go ahead and bust this guy open and check him out. And here we are inside of the Fright Zone, getting ready to take a look at the hairy henchman himself, Grizzlor. And so let's first take a look at his accessories. All right, so first of all, taking a look at Grizzlor's hands, he comes with a left open clawing hand. He has 4 fingers, but he's got those black claws. He comes with a right balled up fisted hand. He comes equipped with 2 weapon holding hands, and those look cool. All of them are horizontally hinged. He also comes with this cool looking silver double-edged axe with the cool Hordak logo and emblem imprinted on both sides, with that bat-like look with the Hordak head in the middle, as well as on his harness here. You can see that also on his harness, and that harness, the black harness with that logo, is removable, as well as his furriness that goes around his chest and back. That's removable. It just slips right off the top of his head if you want to, but I'm not going to remove those. They definitely are more Grizzlor with them in place. And that logo is also on those boots. But he also comes with his bow and arrow with a dragon-like head on the front of it, reptilian type head on the front of it with one eye. So it's got kind of a Cyclops looking eye going on there on the front of that. You can see it a little better here. You can see it's got the teeth. So that is reminiscent to what I believe was on the vintage and possibly the classics as well. Now, I never got a hold of the classics Grizzlor, but I did get a hold of the Super 7 Grizzlor, the Club Grayskull Filmation style Grizzlor. I just never really got into the vintage one. I did not like the looks of the vintage one, the way they did the fur and just his overall look. I don't know, but I like the way, I really dig this one. I like the way they did this, executed this Grizzlor with the fur and the way it's designed, the way it's on him. Just looks a lot better to me than the other ones. And I think the head really looks good. We don't have but one head sculpt. I think it looks really good. Stays true to the Filmation, I believe, style, but as well as giving homage to the vintage head. But I like it better, and we'll look at those in comparison with the Filmation Club Grayskull one, but I do like it better than the Classics head sculpt. But really neat looking Grizzlor. I like him better than I thought I would, but he's really cool. But let's go ahead now look at our Grizzlor's articulation as well as a closer look at him. All right, bringing our Grizzlor a little closer in here. Boy, you could really pose him and make him look cool. You can just snap that bow right on his forearm there and tilt his wrist down. There's not really anything for his hand to hold on to like I thought, but that's cool. And then they got that clawing hand there on his left. That looks really good, and the black fingernails. And then also take a look on the back. That chest armor has a little loop on the back so you can store his axe, his Horde battle axe there. So that's really cool. So let's go ahead and snap this off here and go ahead and get him straightened out and look at his articulation. I really like the way they executed the fur and just the overall mold of his arms and just all around. Of course, he's got the traditional furry loincloth. He's got a little bit different style, more like the Horde belt instead of the traditional, classics type Motu belt. Some boots that have, of course, that also Hordak or Horde logo, that almost bat looking logo with Hordak's face in the middle, which is really cool, and of course on the chest as well. And also his armband. Didn't mention that in our accessories, but that is removable. He's got the armband, but that was part of the deco for the Horde, is to have their militants have the armband, showing that they are a part of the Horde. And he also has bracers there. Now, the head sculpt is definitely disappointing again. You can't really look up at all with this figure. I mean, it just hits the back, his hair, and I'll show you. Pop off the head and see how long his hair is in the back. And so that hits this bunched up hair back here, as well as the plastic of his back and I believe part of the chest armor as well. So you're not going to be able to get a lot of looking up ability there. You're going to be able to look down a little bit, but there again, his chin hair and his chin kind of hit that bulked up, bunched up hair there, right there under his chin. But he is going to be able to look down more than he can look up. Not really going to get any head pivot at all. He can turn a little bit, but it's, again, it's going to hit that harness or that chest armor there and logo stuff there. It's just not going to turn very well. So that's again, the head has been quite disappointing with several of the Masterverse figures. They've done better on some than others. Seems like it's a trend with the Horde figures though, because Hordax was the same way. All right, you can get about 90 degrees. You can get all the way around. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, get really good range there. Hinge and swivel at the wrists. Now he is still going to be able to get some diaphragm, and this buckle actually just came loose as I was posing around, but you see it is removable. There it is, that buckle. So let me go ahead and tab that back in. But you are going to be able to bend forward about that much. You're going to be able to bend back about that much. I really believe they've improved the diaphragm on this wave, because again, you can turn him side to side from the diaphragm and from the waist, which is really nice. That is really good. Same on this side, except he does not have the armband, so you can kind of see the details of the fur around the tricep and the bicep there. Really like the way these arms look. They look a little bit better than some because that cutout for the double joints, but he looks really good. The fur on the shoulders there, and then on his back as well. It goes all the way around and down his back. So I really like the furriness, the real fur that this one comes with, and the way they designed it. I personally like it. He's going to be able to get full splits. He, yes, has thigh cut, and it's real loose on this one. He gets double jointed knees as well, and he will have that boot cut. He's going to be able to get full tiptoes, as well as being able to go up with that boot, and then gets generous ankle rockers with the forward facing pin as well. And similar to the way Hordak boots were, he even has the little bones around the top of the brim of the boot, which is interesting. So that's reuse there for sure. You can see that. But really good overall articulation other than the head on this guy. And again, you can see how the axe again is stored on the back, which is really nice. I'm glad that is included. That is really good. Bravo for that. So overall, I really like this version of our Grizzlor. Now let's do some comparisons. And here is our new Masterverse Princess of Power Grizzlor alongside of the Club Grayskull Grizzlor. and that's the one that kind of has that Filmation vibe, and I believe they kind of stayed true to that with this head sculpt, giving us kind of a mix there, balance, but definitely more detail, and you know, in the fur and different things like that on the Masterverse one, which I really appreciate, think it's really cool. And I also have a second Club Grayskull Grizzlor here that I added the head sculpt from the Heads pack that Classics released, and he had some fur on the head. I know it kind of makes the neck look long, but I still like him. He looks kind of like a punk rock version, and I got him holding a blaster there, and so I've been using that Grizzlor as my main Grizzlor, really, because I like that head sculpt. But you can see that, you know, it stayed true to the overall look of these characters, and I think it's really cool, the interpretation, and I think this is definitely going to be my favorite as far as having the fur and everything there. So looking good alongside these other Grizzlor action figures. And here is our Grizzlor alongside of Hordak himself, the Masterverse Hordak, looking really good next to him, as well as Monstar, Super 7 Monstar, the villain from the Silverhawks. I have a review up on him if you want to check that out, but that is really, I really like putting Monstar in with the villains in the Motu world and multiverse, so to speak. And there's Dalamug back there as well. You can see him with his Horde logo on his forehead, and the gears work, and dial up a face there, and I've got a review up on him as well. That's a Classics figure, and looks good all the way around with these other Horde figures. Looks good. And here he is alongside the new Masterverse Princess of Power Shadow Weaver, which I absolutely love that figure as well, and her wand with the flame effect. And then there's the Classics Catra. I did not pick up the Masterverse one because I just really don't like her face sculpt on that one, but I may eventually pick it up if I find it on clearance. But I just really like the face sculpt on this Catra from the Motu Classics, and so we'll stick with that one for now, but looking good alongside of Grizzlor. Grizzlor does look a little bit tall, even compared, if you notice back at Hordak we looked at just a few moments ago. He does seem tall, and but that is cool. He's a beast. And here he is next to Skeletor and Hordak. I brought Hordak back out so you can see, and I don't know, it may just be the angle, but it does look like Grizzlor is pretty tall. Of course, with Hordak's cowl coming up behind him, that collar part, bony collar part, it may be about the same, but yeah, I think if you measured top of the head, Grizzlor is a little taller. And then there is the Revelation Skeletor with a Hordak MX head sculpt. He has a closed mouth version as well, but check out Hordak MX. You can find him on Instagram, and he has some awesome Masterverse head sculpts that go along with many different of these figures. Awesome. Looks good. And here's Grizzlor next to our Mosquitor. That's a Motu Classics figure, but he still looks really good next to him. And they look like that they are very close in size there, which a lot of times the Masterverse figures are taller than the Classics, but Mosquitor is pretty tall with that head sculpt the way it is. And then there is a Marvel Legends Morg, I believe was his name, and I like putting him in with the Motu villains. I just think he fits in well with the Motu villains. One of Galactus Heralds, but looks good, you know, shorter, but he looks good in this bunch too. Thank you so much for joining us today for this Super Day review as we looked at Grizzlor. And I will mention one last thing. Technically, you can clip that bow and arrow looking device onto his harness. You really can't put it through the loop, but you can kind of turn around and clip it on there. So that is an option. It's easy to fall off if you do, but it'll work if you're posing him. So that is cool. But we appreciate again you joining us. Please like if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe if you've not done so, comment if you have something to say, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time in another Super Dave review. Be blessed and enjoy these photos in the photo gallery.